What's up, everybody? This is Give You Anxiety here, bringing you guys a video of Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. Very early look at the game. I'm super excited for this game. It officially releases on October 15th. So if you haven't already pre-ordered the game, pre-order the game. Or if you're going to buy it on launch day, get it on launch day. Super excited for the launch of this game. And if you guys didn't know, basically for the week before the launch, there's like the streaming event where certain players get access to the game and we're able to stream it and make YouTube videos up until the launch. So it's super awesome. It's been a lot of fun watching all these Twitch streams, and I've been making a lot of videos put up on my YouTube channel to stream a lot, obviously. So I'm gonna make another video here for my YouTube channel. So this video is gonna go over the options that you can have in AOE3 Definitive. There's a lot of options. There's a lot to go through, so I'm gonna try to explain it as best as I can for people that are long-time AOE3 players, or people that are AOE2 players, or players that are coming from different RTS games. So I'm gonna try to tell you guys the best options that you want to have on, and yeah, so let's get into it. So obviously, you launch the game, you go on options, and there is a lot to go through. So I'll skim through most stuff. I play full screen. My resolution, super sampling. This is a pretty key one. So I'll read the description really quickly. If you experience any overheating GPU, reduce the super sampling to 100%. Turning VSync on may also help reduce overheating. So before I get into these, the game, there's so many settings that you can play around with that the game can look very different on highest graphics than it does on lowest graphics. Some people might not like the graphics. They might not like how it looks on high graphics, but they might really like how it looks on low graphics, or vice versa. So if you're not happy with how the game's looking, or your performance, like how the game is, lag or whatever issues, just play around with the settings a lot until you find what you like, because the game does vary a lot depending on the graphics, depending on your options and all that. So here we go. Super sampling. This is one of the really important ones. If you're having any lag issues, just put this at 100%. When I play, I just have this at 100%. I'm not really sure exactly what the point is of having it higher, but actually, yeah. So when I had this at 200%, my game was like super laggy. It was like unplayable. So I don't think there's any reason to have it on high, really. So I just have it 100%, and it runs perfect. Bloom effect. I would probably turn this off. Enhances brightness areas of the world. Disabling may increase performance. And I think things are already pretty like bloomy in the game, so I think if you have bloom effect on, it makes things like too bright and just overly saturated. So I would suggest turning that off, but you can play around. You can hop into a game, have it on, and then turn it off, and all that. So I'm going to have that one off. That's what I'd suggest. SSAO enables screen space ambient occlusion, which allows global illumination in real time. Like I said, play around with this one. I have it off. I'm going to tell you guys my settings. For me personally, I'm a competitive AOE3 player, so I just want to have whatever works best for someone who's playing competitively. So I basically put all my graphics on like lowest, so my game runs as smooth as possible. I can just play it, at the highest level that I can. Particle quantity. I've just put all this stuff low. Foliage. This is a really big one to point out. So if you have this on high, I think it looks really bad. It looks good for like casual players maybe, and if you're taking like screenshots. But when you have this on high, it makes the grass look, and it makes the grass and like berry bushes blend in together. They look like the same thing. So it makes like the grass just stick out really more, and so it's like more realistic, but it doesn't really work with the game in my opinion. So I would suggest having foliage on low, unless if you're like a casual player and do your thing. Shaders, I think I put all of this on low myself, but like I said, play around with the settings yourself. Shadows, I think I keep these on medium. Textures, just play around with these settings. Like I said, you just have to play around with them. Tracer effects. Disabling may increase performance. Go for the performance. Obscured unit alpha. I keep this at 60%. That's the default. That works good. Dynamic lighting. I think I have this one on my other game. And then clouds. I mean, these ones are whatever. Actually, no. I'll turn this one off and keep the clouds on. Is what I was doing earlier. So we'll apply that. And so that's the graphics. You got the game options. Easy military drag. It's up to your preference, but I like this. I always play with it on. This one is another big one to point out. I would say turn this off. Enable right-click camera drag. So it's when like if you right-click and you hold down the right-click, it like moves your camera, the screen. And if you're a competitive player, you do not want to have this on because you'll be like clicking, telling your units to do something, but then the game will think you're trying to move the camera and like commands just won't get picked up, and it's like a huge mess. So and it seems like the units are just not responding, but it's largely due to this option. So like this is a big one to point out. Like don't have this one. Scroll speed, obviously, set to your preference. Camera zoom, you can play around with these. I would suggest not very far. I think is too far out. Currently, it doesn't save the zoom level when you like load it into a game. It always puts you at the furthest zoom, and I think when you're at the furthest zoom, you're a little too far zoomed out. So I always like manually zoom in a little bit. Yeah, and if you guys are from AOE3, like the old game, there was an option called very far, but the very far in the regular AOE3 game is further zoomed out than this very far. So I don't recommend the very far in the game. Indeed. Camera rotation, I leave that off, but if you want it, go ahead. Camera acceleration, it's a preference. Camera shake, if you're a competitive player, you probably want to turn it off. Economy gather points, I leave that off. Clamp mouse window, you want to have that on if you have like dual monitors. UI option to apply. Show training time, yep, you want to have that on. This one, you want to have show game time. That. Show advanced resources, yep. Just player score, advanced formations, advanced text, show hit points. I leave this one off. Hotkey snap to unit, I leave that off. Threshold to snap shorts. Show visual control groups, yep. Corner powers, yep. And here's a really big one. So this is the HUD layout. So there's 3 different options you can have, and it's really cool that it shows it right here. So yeah, this is great. This is probably one of the best things for the game for like welcome AOE2 players and players from other RTS games. It's awesome that there's so much customization you can do here, and you can have like whatever layout you're comfortable with. So this is awesome. So this is the default one. It has a little description. It says banner is located at the top left corner, map and resources located on the bottom right corner, command panel located on the bottom left corner. So yeah, this is the default one. And the cool thing is when you first install a game and you load it up, like the first thing they ask you is like, hey, what kind of hood layout do you want? So it's really cool. That's like the thing that they ask you right away. So yeah, this is a default one. And then you have the definitive one. Slightly different. I'm kind of looking at myself. Definitive one, I think this is what AOE2 players would be used to, with the resources in the top there, top left corner. And classic is what, if you're an old AOE3 player, you're going to be used to the classic. So I'm an AOE3 player, so I go classic. That's what I'm used to. But I think AOE2 and maybe most other RTS games would be definitive. So yeah, just do whatever you want. And then this is the size of the UI. So you can play around with this quite a bit, which is really nice. I like to put it down all the way to 80%, kind of get it as small as possible. It's still like large enough for you to see stuff, so I put that at 80%. Game World 2 tips, yep, have that on. World 2 tips delay, put these all the way to short because when you hover over a treasure garden, it will say like what the treasure contains. So if you have these on long, then you'll hover over the treasure and it'll take like 3 or like 5 seconds for the message to pop up saying what the treasure is. So you want to make sure you have this on short so that it instantly pops up and you don't have time, obviously. Unit type, yeah, yep, sure. Friendful colors. I do like friendful colors if I'm playing team games. Apply that. Sound options. You can play around with the sound, obviously. I think generally, if you're playing competitively, you want to have the music volume very low or off. And these right here is fine. Accessibility, I'm not super sure about. I've have this unchecked. You can pick your colors, which seems pretty cool. Menus, no, I don't. Enable text speech for menu tooltips. I think I have these off. Text speech, I don't know. You can play around with these. I would leave this one off. Leave those two off. Minimap contrast, you guys can play around with this if you want the minimap to be lighter or if you want it to be darker. Just personal preference there, kind of. It may be easier to see units and things on the minimap if you have it lighter or darker. Actually, it should probably be closer to lighter, I would think. Click apply. And hotkeys. So I am on the press release version of the game, not the beta version, which most people are currently playing. So there are some things that are a little bit different on the press release version. It's weird. For whatever reason, they don't have all the hotkeys listed here in the beta version that everyone else is playing. You can edit like all your hotkeys for every military building, you know, everything. And of course, usually you want to click allow conflicts. But yeah, for whatever reason, they don't have the hotkeys here yet in this press release version. But I'm sure, like, at launch, of course, they will have it. So, yep, mess around with your hotkeys. Obviously, set up your hotkeys. And, yeah, that's it for the settings. I'm going to hop into a game really quickly so we can maybe just see a sample of how some of these settings look. So, I'll hop into a tutorial. Yeah, I think I was doing this.
Welcome to the new world. Your colonists have emerged from the town center and are ready to begin work. During this tutorial, I will offer suggestions now and then, but for the most part, you are on your own. Feel free to explore the game and try different things.
Alright, so...
During this
Ooh, I think it worked. Maybe it kept me at the right zoom level there. Oh, you know what? It's probably fixed in the press release version. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Let me try to mess around with that. So, this is the game on basically high graphics, highest graphics.
You may want to send your explorer.
Like I said, this is the furthest you can zoom out, and this zoom level is further than the maximum zoom level in the old AOE3. And I think this is too far zoomed out. Some people, I mean, if you're comfortable playing like this, that's fine. Me, you know, I like playing how the old AOE3 was. So I zoom in a little bit more than what it currently is right now. So this, probably more like the regular AOE3. Maybe this. That. But yeah, whatever you're more comfortable with. The further zoomed out you are, it may be a little bit harder to click on individual units, to recognize units. It kind of makes the game, can make the game look a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, it's personal preference. So yeah, this is the game on, I think, the highest settings. And you can zoom in. So when you zoom in, it's interesting. They changed this in DE compared to like the regular game. You know, before when you zoomed in, it would just... like, so now it puts you on an angle. It puts you like almost parallel with like the ground, kind of. Before it didn't do that, so it's a little bit different, but kind of cool. And when you zoom in, the graphics look amazing. Like, yeah, this is ridiculous how great it looks. So yeah, it looks really nice, fully zoomed in. Here are the berry bushes. Like I said, this is high foliage, so sometimes they can like really blend in with the map when you have the foliage on high. And some maps look a lot different than other maps. Like sometimes on other maps, the grass can blend in with the berry bushes even more. But like, for example, like these three are berry bushes. This is not a berry bush. This isn't even wood. This is like just a cosmetic design thing. Like I can't even Oh wait, or never mind. That's a. Why was it not showing the? Oh wow, when I zoom in, I can chop from it. That's so weird. It's such a small tree. Oh, that is really weird. It's such a small tree that when you're zoomed out, it doesn't allow you to chop at it. But if you zoom in, then you can gather. Or no, you can't even gather from it. It's weird, but the axe symbol appeared. But yeah, that's my point. So that's why I would suggest turning foliage down, not having it on high, like turning it down at least to medium or low. Because like when you look at this, like first glance, these all look pretty much almost alike. You know, these are berry bushes and that's not. So obviously that's, you know, a pretty big issue. So let's go into the options and let's. Oh, what the hell? Foliage is already on low. Wait, how did my settings just get changed? So confused. Did I not have these on high, or did I? Oh, maybe I guess when I was doing the intro, I changed them myself. Okay. Well, cancel what I just said. So that is one of the issues I do kind of have with the game, is that especially when you're zoomed out further, some things are hard to see the difference between. And berry bushes are one of my pretty big complaints right now, but it is what it is. You kind of get used to it, but yeah, like they do obviously look way too similar. So I guess when I was, you know, explaining the options, I changed all the options back to low. I forgot I did that. Okay, so all right, so what you've been seeing was the game basically on the lowest graphics. Yeah, you were seeing the game with all this. So now I'm gonna turn everything up to the highest, and then we'll take a look at it, see how it looks. Oh, I should have showed you guys water. Alright, so we'll apply these graphics. And see how much different the game looks right now? And so look at the grass. Look how much different. This is the foliage setting. Now the berry bushes, they even blend into the ground, let alone that random tree. The berry bushes like blend into the grass. So that's why I highly recommend turning foliage like to the lowest setting. Because if you're a competitive player. So like I said, play around with the settings a lot. And the other thing, right now, the game, it's super laggy for me. Like, I can't even move my screen. And the thing that causes that, that's why I was saying earlier, the thing that's causes that, I found out, is the super sampling. So if you're having lag issues, turn this down. 200%, it makes the game, like, unplayable, unmovable. But at 100%, it's perfect for me. So it's kind of weird. But like I said, there's so many settings, you just have to, like, play around with the settings. Now it's much better. Still maybe a little not super smooth. My PC's not like top of the line, but it's still a pretty good PC. The water in this game does look amazing. Look at the tails. And the ships look great. But yeah, so you can see the foliage. These berry bushes, they're blending in with like the grass right here when you first look. So that's why if you're a competitive player, I highly recommend that you turn foliage either on medium or low. So I'll put that on low. And there you go. See, now the berry bushes stick out much more compared to the ground, the grass. So it looks significantly different on low foliage. And yeah, that's just my point. There's, like I said, there's a lot of graphic settings that you guys can play around with. So I recommend you guys do that. And yeah, if you're having issues, if you're like frustrated at first, just play around with the settings. Like I said, you know, with super sampling, the game at 200%, it's like unplayable. But 100%, then the game's perfectly. So yeah, just play around with your settings a lot. Put on whatever you like, and yeah, that's it, guys. So that's gonna be it for this video. I just wanted to make a video and talk about the options and all that stuff. So hopefully you guys found this helpful. You guys can let me know down below in the comments, and that's me at first video. See you guys in the next one. See you guys.